Alright, hope everybody's having a good one. Welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator with Cookie Pirate. You all probably have no idea how difficult it was to pick a route today, because the weather in most of the state is pretty bad, and where it is good, like down here, it's still really windy. So today we're flying the CubCrafters XCub from Seldovia, Alaska, up the southern edge of the Kenai Peninsula into Seward, and it's going to be about a 42-minute flight. We're going at 7,500 feet, showing just under 81 miles on SkyVector. Climb aboard, hold on, fasten your seatbelts tight because it might be a bumpy ride. Let's go flying. I love planes. Welcome, man. Good to have you. I think this is going to end up being a fairly challenging flight today. Uh-oh. Oh, okay, that's not too bad. It might just be a little bit of haze. I was about to say, don't tell me this airport clouded over. So, alright, we're ready to fly. Let's just go ahead and get this cranked up here. So, battery switch on. I'll wait for that to initialize. Continue. Let's grab the weather here real quick, just see kind of what we're dealing with. Alright. Variable at 4 knots, that's good, it's not too breezy here. 10 miles visibility, few clouds at 4,400. 14 Celsius is 57 Fahrenheit. And 30.12 on the altimeter. So I'm going to cheat set it with the hotkey. Let's just zoom in and take a look at some stuff here real quick. First thing we're going to do, the fuel switch pump is going to come on. Now we're going to go mixture full rich until fuel flow peaks. Right up there, about 5.3. Now we're going to turn it off. And we are good right there. Next we'll do the magnetos, both on. Clear left, clear right. You can't really see well ahead of you in this plane, but it looks like we're clear. Clear! Oh, come on! Start! Alright, we're good now. Prop is going to go full forward. And oil pressure is in the green. Temperature is a little low, but it's... Oh, now it's in the yellow. So all we need to do is increase the RPMs to about 1,000. Actually, really, it's good about right there. Oil temperature is a little low, but it's continuing to rise. That's a good sign. Oh, that's on the edge. Below 60, it's going to go into the yellow. Let's bump it just a little more. No snow, please. It's getting cold in real life. I hate it here. Oh, man. Well, summer's just about over. I can't wait for fall. It's been a brutal summer here in South Carolina, so I'm ready for some cooler weather. Winter does get chilly, although not so much compared to a lot of other parts of the country. Alright. Next up, alternators come on. Or alternator switch. Avionics Master will turn the strobe and nav lights on. We forgot to do that before we started the engine, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and set... Well, for California, it makes sense. I mean, Florida has warm winters. West has a little bit much. 7,500 is what we're going at. FLC, we're going to set to 70. We'll set the heading once we get out onto the runway. The Carolinas generally have mild winters. It does get chilly, but not compared to a lot of the rest of the country. The Northeast or the Midwest gets much colder than we do down here, but it does get chilly at times. We regularly have temperatures drop into the 20s at night. The coldest I've seen here is 12, which is minus 11 Celsius for any of you watching at Celsius. The thing about aviation, I'm very proficient with Celsius because you use it so much in aviation. Alright, we're started. We are clear. We gotta watch a truck. I'm in the Northeast. It's brutal here during the winters. Yeah, I grew up in the Northeast. Can't stand it. I don't think I would want to go back. And it's not the winters I didn't like. I didn't like being up there. Okay. Release the parking brake, and we're good to go ahead and start taxiing here. Let's back off on the power just a little bit, and let's get a good taxi view here. We're a little close to those buildings there, but we're okay. Now this is weird because of the elevation of this. Alright, so you see when you hit the brakes, the nose comes down just a tiny bit. I need to look out the cockpit. It's just so tricky to see. Especially going uphill, that makes it harder. I'm gonna pull forward a little more. The houses have the best views. They're a little low. Seldovia is a really pretty town. When we do the seaplane, you get a gorgeous view. Alright, I'm gonna hit the brakes there. When you're flying this and on the ground, or I should say flying it, but when you're taxiing the plane on the ground, it helps to hold back pressure to avoid the plane nosing forward when you hit the brakes, but you still have to be careful because it could still tip over if you hit them way too abruptly and you're going fast enough. Let me set the parking brake. There is a wind cone, but it's kind of tucked back here. Looks like the wind is going to the south. That is enough runway for takeoff, I think. We could back taxi, but I think we're okay from here. First thing we'll do while we're out, let's check the flight controls. Rudder's good, elevator is good, ailerons are good, flaps to 1, confirmed. Back into the cockpit. Let's do a quick run-up. Oil pressure is a tiny bit low because we're idle. We're going to set the RPMs to... Oh! Did I have the parking brake set and forget to hit it? That happens. Back off on the power a little bit here. Come on. Down just a touch. That's good right there. Perfect. Alright, first thing, let's do a quick mag check. Good. Back on. I'll check the second one. Good. Back on. Now we're going to cycle the prop. Pull it back once. We should have a drop of about 100. That was like 150, but it comes back up a bit. Full forward should go back to 2,000. That's good. One more time. And that's that drop of 100. It dropped about 150 the first time, but that's not too big of a deal. Let's do landing light on. Flaps are confirmed at 1. We're going to taxi out onto the runway, release the... Oh, not quite. Let's back off on the power and do an idle check. Should come down to about 600. Yep. let's bump it back up to 1,000. Roughly. That might be a little much. Come back. It does feel like the RPMs are kind of sensitive in this plane. Alright, now we'll release the parking brake. Gonna have to give it a little bit of juice to get up the hill. Come on. Alright, let's back off here. Nice and easy. Oh, well, I brought it to a stop. Whoops. Come forward. Probably gonna fly the SR-22 tonight or control. Awesome. And let's get out here on the runway. Let's adjust just a little bit here. Oh, hit the brakes easy. Want to make sure that we're lined up. I think we're... let me look outside. Yeah, we're a tiny bit off. Let's just inch forward. Come on. Come on. Sometimes this thing's not as responsive as I would like it to be. And I'm talking about the aircraft, not the stick. That does fine. Alright, back into the cockpit. We should be okay, but I'm gonna do a short field. So what we're gonna do is hold the brakes here. Full power. We're gonna hold the stick back. And brakes off, engine instruments are good. RPMs are a little high, but that's normal. Airspeed's alive. Oh, we are airborne a little bit too fast. We're okay. Alright, we do have a positive rate of climb. Let's come up just a little bit more. Bring the flaps up. And as soon as we get airborne, it starts getting quite bumpy, and I had a feeling that was going to happen. I didn't even set the heading for the autopilot. I'm not going to bother with it. We've got terrain to contend with. Alright. I will do that now. Ooh. Oh, this is fun. Autopilot's going to be my best friend today. Let's set the heading on. Alright. Autopilot is on. Altitude is on. FLC should be on. Why is it not? Turn on. And... Alright. And we need to turn immediately. I don't want to run into any of that right there. So we have a gap. Remember, black is you've got plenty of clearance below. Yellow is you're less than 1,000. Red is above you. Or actually less than 100 below or above. Once we get over this, we'll be able to turn back on course. How about a quick view out of the cockpit? Oh, that is beautiful. Yeah, so here's the town of Seldovia. And here we go again. This thing's stuttering. Here's the airport. This is the town. I've actually landed a seaplane right over here. Coming up into the town. But it's absolutely beautiful. Right across the way here, this channel, Homer's over here. And Kenai and Soldotna are way up there. We got a little ways to go before we get above some of this terrain. I think we can get ready to start a turn. If you were to continue south, that's pretty much the southern end of the Kenai Peninsula, and you can actually see the beginning of Kodiak, or well, a Fogback actually. Back out this way. Let's go back into the cockpit here. We are good. All of the red is gone, so we're gonna go ahead and set our turn. Found a glider place near you. Awesome. I highly recommend you go check it out. Alright, nice good turn in the airplane. We may need to actually Yeah, let's turn a little bit more. Keep that turn going. And we can intercept our GPS track. I'm going to pull back on this just a little bit to get the RPMs down to about 2650. You don't want to run the engine at 2700 RPMs for more than about 2 to 3 minutes, which is really just about takeoff. You can turn the landing light off. We're gaining altitude pretty quickly. Temperature's already 0 Celsius at only 5,200 feet. And yeah, look at the wind. Up here, 30 knots. That was why I had so much trouble finding a place to fly, because the weather was pretty crummy most of the state. Which, I mean, I could deal with, but depending on where you wanted to go, some of the headwinds were over 70 knots at 20,000 in the SR-22. So I'm like, we could do the XCub, but we'll have to get lined up with a good tailwind or it will take forever. Because even at 8,000, kind of where this plane flies, the winds are still quite strong. I mean, you see 30 knots. Like, it's pretty wild. I'll go ahead and turn nav on. We should intercept the course. It should not turn us there. Far enough away from it right now. Right, just a little ways to climb. Alright, in the real world, because we're VFR, we would have to avoid all of these clouds. I'm not too particular about it right now. But just from a purpose of realism, we would kind of steer clear of those. I just want to get on course. Get going through this. I may try to do one flight later on. And 200 feet to go before we reach our cruise altitude. We're actually clear of the clouds. I don't know if we have the actual distance that we're required to maintain. But we're... Oh, they're wispy too. I mean, you can barely even... No ATC to tell you what to do, right? Uh-oh. I don't like this, though. That could be a bit of a problem. If it starts clouding over, we may have to duck below it and go at 5,500. Alright. We are at cruise. So I'm going to leave the power in. Let's go ahead and lean the mixture. In some planes, you want to lean the mixture below 3,000, or at 3,000 feet. Normally in this, I just wait until we are up to cruise. So we're going to do the lean assist, and I'll let you all be able to see the control coming back a little bit. So we're going to just slowly start pulling the mixture until these green bars go up to about the yellow line. As you see, when I'm pulling back on the mixture a little bit, they're starting to go up. Eventually they're going to peak, and these indicators down here will turn blue, telling us how much off peak we are. Generally, too, it looks like we want to be at about 8 gallons per hour for our fuel burn. So we're just going to keep pulling back a little bit. Dropped a little, so we're gonna actually push this back in. We're gonna enrich it, and that is right where we want to be, so we're good. What Garmin display is this? I am not 100% sure. I believe it is the G3X, but I'm not certain on that. It is a touchscreen, which is really neat. You can see there are a few buttons. Alright, we're set to cruise. We just are gonna need to pay attention to these clouds. We may have to drop down to 5,500. Wind is actually a little calmer over here, just 26 knots, and it's mostly a crosswind. So I think we're only getting about a 10 knot tail, or yeah, I can't talk, sorry. 10 knot tailwind component, because most of it's a crosswind. Better than a headwind though. Alright, so we can get out of this here, and we'll bring the map up. Now we're turning to intercept the course. And once we get on course, we'll look ahead and determine if we need to drop or if we're okay to stay where we're at. Really want to fly in the G1000 the Cessna 172 has at my flight school. So I have a lot of experience with the G1000. It is super nice. I'll show you the G1000 in the Diamond sometime, or even in the 172 with it. But it is invaluable to learn to fly with round dials. I wish I'd started with round dials, because I actually started with the G1000, and most of my flying since has been round dials. The G1000 just makes everything so efficient in terms of reading your instruments, navigating. If you're doing VFR, it's not really worth it, in my opinion. When you're doing instrument, it is very worth it. Alright, we're set. Look at that, 140 knots over the ground. So now that we're on course, we're getting more of that tailwind component. We're getting about a 20 knot tailwind now. We want to do a cross country in one. Yeah, absolutely. It's not a bad idea at all. Really good for navigation. Alright, I don't know why it's not showing up again. I gotta look into that. But our route today, this is Seldovia. This is where we took off. We came out down this way, turned, cut up over the mountains here, flew over these, which I'm not really sure what they are. Oyster Cove, and Yakolov, I think is how you say that. This is Homer up here. We'll look outside. But our route today is taking us right along the southern edge of the peninsula, and we're going up to Seward, which sits right here. If we were flying over the water, I thought about doing one from Kodiak, but it was just going to be a long flight. It was going to be a very long flight in this plane, and it would have still probably been about an hour in the SR-22. Had we gone there, we'd get an absolutely gorgeous view of the fjords and everything. But we're going to be passing over some of these, I believe they're glaciers. Going right over Kenai Fjords National Park, which is spectacular in its own right. Oh, we're going, it's not really a glacier per se, but it's an ice field. So, this was saying about a 42-minute flight. Oh, come on. It's just froze again. Uh-oh. Don't have to be instrument rated though to use the G1000, right? No, you do not. Come on. Might be in a little trouble here. Oh, there we go. That started to frighten me a little bit that this thing froze. I mean, it was a good 30-45 seconds that it froze. I have no clue why, but it looks like we're okay now. I really don't understand why it's doing that though. Yeah, right? Alright, so if you look off that way, it's actually just a little bit behind the left wing. But Homer is right here. It's a pretty big town on the Kenai Peninsula. See, here we go again. I don't know why this is... I'm gonna have to look into that and see what's going on. It really only does it in this plane. It doesn't really do it in the SR-22. It might stutter for a second or two, but it doesn't just freeze for several seconds. But that felt like it was close to a minute. So there are some clouds starting to kind of brew over the peninsula. Out this way, you can see the Iliamna volcano and Mount Redoubt. Those are all part of the Aleutian chain. You look your way back this way. Eventually, those will all run out into the Aleutian Islands, but not for a few hundred miles. Back up ahead, we've got, I believe the start of the ice fields is kind of up here. And pretty high altitude. So I'm going to zoom out on the map, and we're actually above all of the terrain. So none of these are really above 6,500. There are a couple spots where we might see some yellow dots getting closer to Seward. I think a couple of those go up to 6,700 or something. In fact, why don't I go ahead and pull up the map on Sky Vector here. So you can see our route a little bit better now. This is Seldovia. We're somewhere about here. So we have 5,800, 5,550, 63, 40. Alright, so here's one that's 6,600. Now, so it actually looks... It looks like we're going to be clear of everything. Alright, we can turn that back off and go into the cockpit. "25 knots of tailwind is pretty nice." It is. It's not 25 though, because it's a quartering tailwind. So we have a 21. So it's actually pretty close. The way you can tell, you look at your true airspeed compared to your ground speed, and it's about 20 to 21. And you can also see, do you see how the plane is on a slightly different heading than our GPS track? We're turned 7 degrees to the left. That is your crosswind correction. It's because we're getting a strong crosswind component, so the plane turns a little bit. It's called a crab angle. Yep. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I figured you would probably be at least a little familiar with this. I'm not sure how extensively that might have been covered in your training, or if you're just aware of it from learning flight sim stuff. It's not real significant, but I've had crab angles well over 15 to I think 20 degrees sometimes when the crosswinds have just been really strong. And that's particularly when I fly the SR-22 at a higher altitude, where the winds tend to be a lot stronger. Alright, it looks like we're going to be okay at this altitude. We really can't go down to 5,500, or we'd have to fly out over the water, lengthen our flight time. Or we'd have to fly up. Let me pull the map up. We would have to fly up here and come in kind of through this valley, or we'd have to turn out, descend, and go up this way. Either way, it would add a really significant amount of time on our flight. But these little thin wispy clouds, I don't think they're going to interfere with our route. little bit bumpy, not too bad. Some light turbulence, and that's pretty common when you get a lot of strong winds aloft. I definitely do have to pay attention to the wind. I mean, our GPS, the navigation, the autopilot will correct for that automatically. But we do have to keep an eye out for it, just in case it does require any performance adjustments, and if it causes an increase in turbulence. This is light, but if it became moderate, we would have to slow down to about 97, so we'd lose about 10 knots. Not terrible, actually. The other thing we really do have to pay... okay, it just froze up again. I need to look into that. It's something with this aircraft I don't understand. There we go again. We're okay. The other thing I do have to keep an eye on is just if any of these clouds start coming up, kind of starting to block our path, we might have to get a little creative with some maneuvering, which means we just set a heading boat, go slightly off course around it. If we were in the SR-22, it wouldn't be a problem. The temperature is -1. Oh, so really not. It's been pretty consistent from about 5,000 up to here. But it dropped really fast climbing out of Seldovia, the temperature. Let's pull the map up, and believe it or not, we are already almost halfway. Seldovia's over here. Seward is up here, so I think we're just under half. I believe this is about the halfway point. This is actually exactly the halfway point. We fly right over this tiny lake. And it is a lake, but then it sits at the glacier field, I'm not sure, or the ice field. I'm not sure if it's going to be represented correctly. Beautiful to the right, absolutely. Oh, a little bit bumpy. Still light. I would consider that light turbulence. If it picks up, then we're gonna slow down. Yeah, off to the right, that's all just the water out the southern end of the peninsula. If you were to fly over the ocean, you'd eventually reach like southeast Alaska, like Juneau, Ketchikan, Sitka, and stuff like that, probably in about, in this plane, 3.5 hours perhaps. You actually, if you went straight to the right, 90 degrees like that, you'd be flying down to like Oregon or Washington. And that would be way more than 3.5 hours. If you flew like this way, that's where you would reach. Actually, up this way looks like it's out past like Cordova and Yakutat. You could just barely see a little bit on the horizon there. But out to the left, other than the clouds, I mean, you can see kind of where the little inlet that runs between Homer and Seldovia that closes up and that kind of merges into the peninsula. And we have just passed the halfway point. In fact, we didn't even look down to see it. Let's get a view out of the cockpit real quick. Take a look at our smiling CubCrafters. Yeah, I didn't even... Oh, no, here it is, right here. And... oh, just a short stutter. Yeah, so there is the lake right here. And that goes into the ice field. All the fjords are back here. This is absolutely beautiful. I've done this flight the reverse before, out of Seward down to Seldovia. This time we're going this way. Of course. Back into the cockpit here. 36 miles. Doing 142 across the ground, so it really should only be about 16 minutes before we reach Seward. So let's just do a little bit of prep. This is a very short flight, actually. It's going to be less than that 42 minutes. Thanks to that ridiculously good tailwind. Alright, Seward is reporting 200 at 4. The weather's... oh, you know what? It's going to update in the next couple minutes here. But it gives us something to plan for. 200 at 4, so we'll land to the south. 10 miles visibility, clear skies, 14 Celsius, 29.99 on the altimeter. Let's go ahead and set that, since we're more than halfway. And it was a little more than 100-foot difference. So we're gonna climb up just a tiny bit. So we're losing a tiny bit of speed right here, but the plane doesn't struggle to climb, so it'll be just fine. In this plane, you know how you check your fuel? If it doesn't freeze on me again, there we go. Right up here. This is your left tank, this is your right tank. So the indicators are a little bit different just because of the way the fuel flows. So let's go ahead and switch, and you can look and you can probably see it adjust a little bit. If we zoom way out, actually I don't know. I didn't really notice the change. Oh, it's starting to get a bit bumpy. Oh, you have it on this side too. You know what? I'm not sure. Since they're on both sides, I don't know what the difference in the meters is. I stand corrected. Jump outside? Yeah. Oh man. It looks like we're rolling on the snow. Or the ice. But this is absolutely beautiful. We're only probably about 1,500 feet above the ground right now. And you can see a couple of these peaks get fairly tall. It almost looks like we're still just on the... Let's go back in. Absolutely beautiful, though. Let me check for an update. Yep, there it is. Okay, 100 at 3, so the wind has shifted a little bit, but it's light. 10 miles visibility, still clear. Now it's up to 17 Celsius, that's 63 Fahrenheit. And 30.01, so this changed. So let's set that. Very slight difference. And let's pull the map up. There's high terrain all through here. In fact, I'm going to look at the sky vector chart. And here's why. It'll show a better representation of the terrain. So we really can't descend until we're basically over here, unless we want to turn off course. And you can see the altitudes up here. If we try to turn this way to come in, we won't be able to descend until we pass about here. If we turned this way, we'd have to take the long way and then circle back to land. So what I think we're going to do is try to follow this valley down, but we'll have to pay attention to the clouds again. And we'll turn, come in that way. 1-3 is probably the runway that we'll take into Seward. The wind is 1-0-0, we'll have a slight crosswind, kind of like this. Which means we will end up kind of flying around this river coming into the airport. Trying to see a representation of this on here. It looks like kinda like that. Yeah. Is the airport controlled? No, it is not. Let me pull something else. Let me go back to the sky vector chart. You can always tell if it is controlled or not. Now, there is an exception to the rule, but it's very rare. You see how the airport is like magenta? It's not towered. Come back over here, Homer is not towered. But if you come up and look at Kenai, you see how the indicator of the icon is blue? Ah, excuse me. Oh, you all couldn't hear that. Yeah, but I had to mute suddenly because I started to sneeze. Didn't want to. But you see how this is blue? That's an indicator that they do have a tower. And you can also look and see there's CT and the frequency. If you come up and look, Anchorage, of course. All of these are towered. These are not. There are very, very few exceptions to that rule. So we're gonna have to watch the terrain closely. Oh, you mixed the colors up. Oh. Well, oh no, no worries, you get the concept though. Let me turn that off. Alright. Oh, now you can start to see a couple of the fjords. That's really pretty. few of the islands that kind of dot the coast. Very jagged on this side of the peninsula, whereas the west side, up where you would find Kenai, Soldotna, Homer, is relatively flat in comparison. Only thing fun about winter is the frozen lakes. Yeah. I like winter though. Out here, you can see some of the snow starting to taper off. Kind of begins to disappear. Alright. I need to see on here. Oh, I can't turn terrain on, it's grayed out. Oh man. Well, we have this, but that's. Ooh, it's starting to get bumpy. A lot of light turbulence. There's a couple little pops of moderate, but it's not really continuous. Unless it gets worse as we continue forward, then we'll need to slow the plane down. But I think this is where we're going to turn to start our descent, if we're looking at the chart. Yeah, we're gonna go through here and then start descending, so... Okay. Oh, yeah, it's getting bumpy, yeah. We're gonna pull the power back a bit. Now it smooths out a bit. Put some power back in here. So Seward is just going to sit right up between here. Now, one thing that we could do is just fly over the airport and just cut the power and start a rapid descent. It sounds more dangerous than it really is. That's kind of the valley that we'd be flying through and around. Alright, I'm going to be referencing the sky vector chart, but I'm not going to pull it up on screen, just because I really want to be able to navigate here. So I only have 2 screens, so if you send chat messages and I don't respond, it's because of that. So I'll get caught up on chat here in a minute. We could make our way through that, but that'd be a long way around. Unless... have a little bit of a valley to kind of come through, but it's tough to see on here. And no, it pretty much drops us at the airport. To follow that path. I can't really see the way to follow the river the way I would want to. So what we're going to do is just fly to the airport once we're clear of this terrain up here. I'm going to zoom in on here. gonna cut the power, and I'm actually gonna turn the autopilot off. We're gonna do this by hand. Start a nice gradual descent here. Pull back a little more on the power. Yeah, we're almost right above the airport. Quick view out of the cockpit. That's it right there. So, terrain does start dropping. What is that? Oh, wow. It's this giant ship doing donuts in the water. That's one of the funniest things I've seen. Oh my gosh. Alright, let's take the power out, and we are going to pitch down. Power is idle. Descending pretty quick, but our airspeed is actually continuing to slow down. We do have to maintain control of the plane, and we're flying by hand, no autopilot. How about another view of that? And yeah, there's snow on the ground, and it's 63 degrees Fahrenheit. The ship is still doing donuts. Back in. Really can't have long views out of the cockpit when you're flying by hand. What in the world is that ship doing, other than trying to show off, maybe? Alright. Let's turn the landing light on. We're gonna pull the carb heat. We're gonna fly out this way. Let's zoom in a little bit on the map. We don't want to get too fast here. So we're gonna fly out this way and then just make a 180 basically in for a long final. Now we're down to 3,000, just a little bit above it. And it is gusty through here, but I think once we dip pretty far below all these mountains on the side, it should smooth out. The wind is pretty light at the airport, so. We are a bit slow, and we're down to below 2,000. We're gonna raise the wing just a little bit so we can see back to the airport. Alright, let's put the power back in and just level off a little bit until we can get ourselves lined up. And you can see we're navigating now. We have that yellow, so we're just gonna fly over the black. Oh, so we're actually set up more for a base leg. That actually works out pretty well. Dale, what's going on, man? Paul, no! We're fine. Alright, let's get the plane slowed down again. We can actually go flaps 1. Put the power back in. Last couple things we need to do. Mixture's gonna go full rich. I feel the wind kind of knocking us a little bit over here. Prop is gonna go full forward. No, it's not. We're gonna pull that back, just so we don't overspeed. Beautiful view. Really pretty view. The town of Seward actually sits... Well, there's that, and then there's some over here. There's the shipyard. Is that still doing donuts? Yes, he is. And there's 1,000 feet. So we're actually good to continue descending. Are we slow enough to do... let's pull back on the power a little more. There we go. We are slow enough to go flaps 2. We're just gonna watch carefully to turn. We don't want to overshoot. 700. Yeah, we're doing okay here. Man, having a good time doing donuts in the ship. Yeah, right? Oh, we are a bit low, so we're actually going to add some power, come up. This is the runway we're taking right here. So, it's a little bit of a non-standard approach, and we did get a little too low there, but we can correct, so we're okay. We can take that power out. And we're going to add a little bit in. We can go flaps full. Nice and easy. We're kind of coming a little bit off course. The wind is calmer now. Let's get lined up a little better, though. Alright, now we're good. We can take the power out. 100 feet to go. Take the power out. Ease right down to the runway. Flare. We're skipping a little bit, though. We're okay. Alright. No. Alright, hit the brakes. Ooh, easy. Not too hard on the brakes. There we go. That's good. A little bit off center. Not too bad. Definitely not one of my best landings. But, we did okay. Alright. And... we do have a little bit of a lengthy taxi here. Flaps will go all the way up. Let's go out of the cockpit for a nice little view as we taxi. Oh. There we go. We did bounce a little bit. That's one thing I need to work on in this plane, is to try to stick the landings a little better, but we did okay. It was kind of a creative approach. I had to coming in over this way. And there were definitely a couple things I did wrong. I descended a little bit too low. Kind of as we were getting ready to turn final. In the real world, we would obviously wait to make sure the runway was clear, but this looks marked. I'm not sure, is this an active runway? It doesn't look like it, or it may just not be marked as such, but yeah, there's hold position markings and signs. Alright, easy on the brakes. But the easy thing is we just come up right into our into our parking position. Right there. And let's just make sure we're clear. can't use it since the tower. Yeah, right? Oh, yeah! Yeah, look at that. That's pretty weird. Why is that in the middle of the closed runway? Or in the middle of a... That's not closed. It's not permanently closed, I should say. Alright, let's go in and shut down. Hey, Brolmick, welcome. Let me get to your message in a second here. Alright, we can turn that off. Avionics come off. Alternator comes off. Now we're going to cut the mixture. Shut the engine down. Rock. That all looks good. And we can go ahead and turn the battery switch off. Oh, and magnetos. I don't know why it ended the... or it didn't bring up the ending screen on here. Or is that the last thing that needs to come off because of that? I don't know. I don't know why that didn't come up. But yeah, that looks to be... It was about a 45-minute flight, so it took a tiny bit longer. Alright, so Brolmick, so I know it's not JFK, but without a tower, what would happen if two planes wanted to land at the same time or take off? Do the pilots decide on their own? And I Love Planes says CTAF. So, how that works... Let me pause the music. This is just about done. I'm going to decide if we want to do a second flight here. So, the CTAF pilots talk to each other and just coordinate their positions and who's coming in and stuff. If you're VFR, you can have as many as you want, but you have to talk, and there are kind of standard patterns you're supposed to follow, with few exceptions. And so what I would do in the real world, if I'm flying into an uncontrolled airport, I would call up on that frequency and say, airport traffic, who I am, what plane, type of plane I'm flying, where I'm at, and what I'm planning to do. So I'd call up and say, XCub 272 Charlie Zulu, which is the call sign for my aircraft. 5 miles to the north of Seward, inbound runway 18. Something like that. And anybody else, they would call up and let me know what they're doing so that if I needed to make any changes or wait for somebody to come in or get out, then I could do that. If you are going IFR, you're going to be talking to either approach or center control with who has radar. And the rule for that, they'll clear you for the approach, and then their rule is only one in and one out. So you can only have one aircraft cleared in on an approach to land, or one aircraft on the ground that is given departure clearance, so, which is different from takeoff. But departure clearance means they can just taxi out, get airborne, and call. So it is pretty regulated. So uncontrolled fields, by nature, are a little bit... I gotta be careful, and I don't mean it to sound less safe. But in principle, they are a little bit, just because towered airports, you have air traffic controllers to separate everybody coming in, going out, taxiing, etc. Whereas uncontrolled, you don't have somebody monitoring that, you just have radar that keeps track of who's going in and coming out. But any VFR traffic isn't necessarily talking to them. Alright, I Love Planes, thanks for hanging out, man. We'll catch you later. So that is how that works. And here we are parked on the ground at Seward. I'll stick in the back with in-flight movies and the drink trolley. Yeah, there you go. Legend has it. Nope, Legend doesn't have it. My eyes see it. The ship is still doing donuts. Oh, what in the world? That's just odd, but really funny at the same time. Gorgeous views. There is snow on the ground. There shouldn't be when it's over 60 Fahrenheit. But it is what it is. A lot of airports up here seem to have that. So, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream here. Thank you all for flying with me. I might do another flight, or I might take a break and do, Planet Coaster. I'm not sure. I haven't decided, but I do plan on doing another stream at least a little bit later. So, stay tuned. I'll figure out what we're going to do, but of course I set the broadcast up before I go live, so you'll all be able to see. And if you're able and willing to join, great. If not, no worries. That's going to do it for this one. Thanks for joining again. And we'll catch you all later. Take care, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.